Hello Capricorn, welcome to your July and August forecast. This is going to help you navigate a total of 60 days so you can come back and watch it whenever you need to. And I'd like to get started by reminding you that you can always use it for Sun, Rising Moon, and Venus. I know many of you like to take a look at Apollo. He's resting behind us, so we'll give him some peace and quiet and get started. The image that came through in channeled messages for you was a spring, and for me this is a really rich symbol. First of all, it represents the ability to manage pressure or stress, because basically if you think of what a spring can do, it can absorb. They do have limits though. There's only so much that you can put on that before the tension is too much. So I think this month in particular, it's important to find balance. Think, for instance, about like the Six of Pentacles. Figuring how much to give, how much to take, and when to say no. That's the first thing. A spring is also very flexible by definition. It can change based on how much pressure or how much weight is put on top of it. So you're going to be asked this month to not be rigid in an approach to things, whether that's thinking or working or relationships. Flexibility, give and take, ebb and flow are very much going to be a part of that. The last thing that's coming forth is spring loaded. So it feels like you may take the first month, the first 30 days, and pull together all sorts of resources, create potential energy. And in the second month, it's like a release, a launch, because a spring can do that, something that's spring loaded. So we want to look, especially in that latter part of the 60 days, for a point where there might be liftoff. So we see a planning phase in July, and then in August, we're going to look for an opportunity for a launch sort of window as well. And that's everything for channeled messages, so let's shuffle the cards and begin. All right, take a moment, close your eyes, trace a circle of light around your body, set an intention that within this circle you are safe, and let's call in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. All right, so to the left, we have the month ahead, July. Then we have August over here. We have karma, destiny, and then we have a connection and a block in the center. Let me also begin here with a catalyst to see how all of this is being brought together. Your catalyst card is communication, and this is such a powerful catalyst because that's exactly what communication does. It can initiate or it can stop something. If you see something that needs to be fixed, speak up. If you see something that you want, communicate it. If you have a dream, you can speak it into existence with this communication card. Think of the King of Swords, very much connected to this, okay? We'll intermittently come back to this and see where communication may either be a help or a hindrance, but initially looking at this, I'm quite pleased that it made an appearance, okay? So let's begin with the month ahead. As we look at the karma, this is a beautifully illustrated card. It basically is representing criticism, and this can be the inner saboteur, you criticizing yourself, but it can also be kind of like echoes of the past. Potentially, again, a teacher or a parent or someone in your life whose, first of all, whose input you cared about, but who didn't see you in that moment in the way that you needed them to see you, okay? So dodging bullets, or in this case, dodging these sort of arrows, trying to make sure that you're not sort of in that people-pleasing mode, because to be your authentic self, it's necessary to say, take me or leave me, this is what I stand for. But if in the past, in the karmic past, you've constantly had to sort of like defend yourself, it's ingrained in the pattern. So the pattern to release is the need to please. The potential internal block is the inner saboteur that says you're not good enough, this won't happen. And if you see it in the external, if someone continually comes up and you can't please them no matter what, this is a month to distance yourself from that. If we take a look at the traditional illustration, it also has to do with honesty and accountability. And there could be someone in your life that doesn't want to listen and doesn't want to take accountability. They may even get some joy from creating that sort of emotional rise from you. This is not where you should be putting your time and energy. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to move on. And that's actually the first of the 3 cards for the month ahead. So karmically, we're walking away or moving away from feeling like we have to be in fight or flight mode, feeling like we have to absorb the impact of some of these negative comments, and instead we're going to decide, where do I want to go next? Before I take this card by card, we have 2 reversals and 1 upright. 2 of Swords is really introspective and getting curious. What is it getting curious about? The next steps, movement, and getting a closer handle on resources. So let's talk about your first card in the past position. 6 of Swords. When it's reversed, you could be going back and finishing something that was left undone. Maybe you've been procrastinating. Maybe something came up and you thought, oh, I've been meaning to do that. It's a return to something, and it doesn't feel like it's going to take that long, but it's like, I need to tie up that loose end. I'm all for that. This is also asking you to take time at the very beginning of the month and create a plan. So first observe, how far have I come? Then look at, where do I want to go? And because the next card is a resource-oriented card, you're also going to ask yourself, what do I need to get there? And that is going to give you a sense of release and relief. And then that will allow you to push the ignition or allow the spring to kind of go where it needs to over the course of the next 60 days. But you have to know if there's enough fuel in the tank, and also just, where are you going? And this is a great chance to get curious, not to feel overwhelmed, but to think, all right, these things happened. What's next? What do I want to do? What does my heart want to do? What does my head tell me I should do? Is there a way to kind of get somewhere in between the two and be happy? Okay? There may be an overdue move or decision. There could also be something where you feel rushed. Change takes time. They put transition as a helper word on this. So in order to move on or to move forward, I would love for you to just take a deep breath and get grounded first. Because if you don't have that sense of clarity, and if you don't know where you're going, then you're just kind of winging it. And we really don't want to see that in the energy of July. So that's the first message in July. The central theme and the thing that's going to help you the most, like I said, is getting grounded here. We have the King of Pentacles. The card is reversed, and some of you are looking for a chosen family. So we have a lone wolf. Wolves like to be in a pack. And if we look at the traditional King of Pentacles, it's kind of like a super lush card. So this is a time to find a group, find a place, find an area where you feel that sense of community, support, where you can start to see things moving in the right direction. This is also about getting a firmer handle on your financial situation and not to beat yourself up with a could've, would've, should've sort of energy, but instead, I can, I will, I am. And also for some of you, this may be an encouragement to speak up, to articulate, because now we have the communication card intersecting with that. So this could represent you always giving, but not receiving in kind. So reciprocity in the form of payment at work, reciprocity in the form of give and take in a relationship. Because if you basically absorb too much, and if you're constantly giving, that spring is going to break. We don't want that to happen, okay? There could also be a desire to move from one home or place to another. Six of Swords, finding a place where you feel more at home, more supported. You might be moving for work. You might be moving in with someone so that you can start a family or really explore the relationship with greater confidence and in greater depth, okay? So those are the first 2 cards that came through. Let's go ahead actually and take a look at where it's all headed this month. So as we're looking again at the energy of July, we have the 2 of Swords, and this is helping you find a new balance. We have the feather in one of the 2 sides and a bunch of coins in the other. Traditionally, you would have a heart there, and if you lived a good life, your heart wouldn't be heavy, it would be as light as a feather. The money is an interesting choice there because where's the heart? Where's the heart in this? So money doesn't necessarily make you happy. It makes life easier, but it doesn't fill in all the voids. And what I'm seeing here with this particular spread is a desire perhaps to find a little bit more with friends, with family. We see it coming through over in this area with the Lovers card for sure. So step by step here, I think that you might be trying to find something that's missing, and you're asking yourself, what really fulfills me? What makes me happy? What makes my heart light? Okay? Now, the traditional Two of Swords is also a difficult decision, a gray area, and it's not all going to be spelled out in black and white. So this is where the heart, as the missing component of this, will be the deciding factor. There are two blindfolded cards, Eight of Swords, Two of Swords, and it's not just about it not being obvious, but it's really Spirit saying go within. Don't always trust what you see or hear, because senses can sometimes deceive, but the heart and the third eye very rarely do. Get curious and do what? Get inquisitive, ask questions. So this time communication is coming in the form of, why are we doing this? Or I need to understand this a little bit more. Or this isn't clear. Can you repeat that or explain this differently? Speak up, speak often, and make sure that you're articulating your ideas, your concerns, doing so in real time. And if we just look at this as a triptych of the month ahead, we see delayed but necessary movement. We see a possibility and hopefully a probability for you, if you speak up, to get more resources and support, but it all hinges on the communication. And you may find yourself in a new sort of world where you didn't see yourself before, like a surprise, a pleasant surprise, especially since that was preceded by the King of Pentacles. All right, now before we move forward, let's look at a big takeaway for the month of July. We'll do the same for August when we're done. Okay, so in July, I like this. So your takeaway, your so what for the month ahead is the Page of Wands. And this is getting very communicative and very involved in things that connect with your ideas. And for some of you, this could actually be deciding to take a class. This is very connected to the King of Pentacles in reverse. Taking care of you, spoiling yourself in the best possible ways. So if you want to learn something new, now is the time. If there's something that you need or want, sometimes you do it first and then articulate. And you can say, see, this is possible. And there is that energy of demonstrative and sort of like showing up, also coming forth with this. And there could also be an idea presented to you. And I think the most important thing here is you decide, does this feel right? Does this fit with my vision, with my goals, and with who I am? So as we're taking a look now at August, the first card, the connector, is going to help us bridge the gap between the 2 months. What's interesting is we have a card here where you wonder about things, daydreaming, the Seven of Cups. But the Fool in this deck, the actual connector card, is named the Wanderer. So when you wander around, you walk around, you amble around, and sometimes with a purpose, sometimes just because. If you haven't taken a break or a vacation, now's the time to do it. If you want to experience something new just for the sake of it, the Wanderer says, yes, this is the perfect thing to do. Moving, shaking, doing things that are different, shaking up the schedule. It's important not to rinse and repeat at all at the midpoint. So as you commence and as you kick off August, I think anything different is worth exploring. It's a great time to launch something new, but there is this fuzzy or gray zone area where not everything is spelled out. We see the Wanderer stepping into the mist, not completely certain of what is coming next. I do like that we see the rainbow there, which is a hope for better days ahead. So wandering, walking, traveling, and exploring in the mind. So it's a combination of the two. Maybe you're fulfilling your dreams as well. Okay, so interestingly enough, the block this month has to do with responsibility. And it looks very binary to me, actually. But first, let's just look at the card here. So we see 10 of Wands, responsibility, and it's almost exactly like the original here, but you can see even clearer that this person is feeling a little overwhelmed. So the first message here is don't take on more than you need to. This could be for my fellow perfectionists out there that want everything to be word perfect and absolutely 100%, no flaws. And that's not life. And that's not always what's necessary. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. So that's one side, is the perfectionist side. The other one is walking away from responsibility, because literally the wanderer is facing the other direction and, moving on. So finish what you've started. And until you finish what you've started, don't add something new. And even if you're tempted to walk away from something, really think about if it's the right thing to do. Wouldn't it be better, especially if you're at the 10 moment here, just to finish? So that's the encouragement here. Don't add and don't run away from responsibility, okay? Instead, communicate. If you need help, ask. If you need a break, take it. You can always come back to this. So that's the big takeaway as I'm looking at that, or the big sort of so what with this. All right, moving onward. Now let's get ready to take a look at August. And it's exciting, folks. 10 of Wands, an elevated 10 of Swords, and then a 10 of Cups. So this is coming through in the past, and I believe that you do not have to repeat this, but let's talk about it. This 10 of Swords is unlike any other deck. It is not something to be afraid of. It's learning a lesson, seeing a cycle, and rising above it. There's someone in your life that's trying to help you avoid something. Listen. It could be a teacher, it could be a friend, it could be your higher self, but there's someone that's coming through with a really good question, and it should hit around the beginning of August. And you may not want to hear it the first time, because the 10 of Swords does still represent pain, and it could just be a hit to the ego, but there might be someone with constructive criticism that's trying to help. So listen to that. The other piece of this is just fear of success. The 10 of Swords can simply be you saying to yourself, what if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if they point their fingers and I'm not what they wanted? It's one potential outcome for any day of our life, but it's not the most likely based on what I'm seeing here. I think what's likely is that you're putting too much stress on yourself. And people that are truly your friends, and we see them here in the 10 of Cups, they want to support you. So let's look at your different 10s. We have the potential of being overloaded there. We have a fear of failure or taking something personally. And then we also have support. These are very different cards, but they're all in the suit of 10s, and you have options here. What are we missing? The 10 of Pentacles. But you're okay because we've got this. So let's just look at all of these and talk about why they came up so closely together in this reading. So as long as you don't either overload yourself or walk away from responsibility, you shouldn't experience this. This is fear. So be smart about responsibility, and we can skip over the 10 of Swords and get straight to this, the 10 of Cups. I really feel it all hinges on this. How much pressure you're putting on yourself, how much pressure you let others put on you, okay? The other thing with this is if you need to heal your body, now is the time to do it. That is why you might have to take a step back. Taking a step back is different from walking away from something. It's saying, I need time to heal, or I need time to get perspective. It's absolutely okay to do all of that. This is not letting yourself take something too seriously. And it's easier said than done. If you really care about someone, sometimes it gets under your skin. What I have learned, as recently as last month even, is to just ask, because often the tone is misconstrued. So better to start with this, say, am I reading this correctly? Or what did you mean? Even that, just say, could you clarify what you meant by this? And if it did kind of hit you the wrong way, just say, well, I'm so glad that's what you meant, because when I read it, it came off differently and I wanted to understand. Because that's also going to let someone know that this isn't an ideal way to communicate. Even if someone is giving you feedback, say it's so much easier if I receive it this way, particularly if it's a boss or someone in your life, even a partner. They may or may not choose to listen, but at least you've tried to coach them. It's all about communication. And I think it's telling if you work for someone and they're like, I don't care, that's how I'm going to talk. That we have to try to meet in the middle, usually, in situations like that. And even if it is a boss, that gives you kind of something to think about in the future, because you don't want to get burned out. So that's the other thing. This can just be burnout. It's avoidable. But it's not always easy, because sometimes we want to people please. And that's what I'm getting here with the Ten of Cups in reverse. If we turn it upright, you notice that the water is flowing naturally in one direction. You can't change the direction. You can't change someone's emotions. You can influence them, but you can't change them. And they really can't do that for you either. So don't force a connection if it doesn't exist. And know that if someone loves you unconditionally, and it looks like they might here, then as long as you are your authentic self, it's going to be all right. The Ten of Cups came through in the present energy for the month of August, meaning that for some of you, there's going to be increased focus on relationships. It could be friendships, partnerships, love. There could be more than you expect. So for some of you, there could be a responsibility to care for someone, or a relationship love interest comes through and you fall head over heels since this was reversed. There's an intensity that hasn't existed prior to now. This is why it is so important to get the balance right. That's why we got it at the end of July. You need to take a step back a little bit from responsibility, not like walk away, but clear your head. Don't put more on your plate, because I feel like you're at the perfect place right now. Any more and your patience will break, but you also want to make room for love and friendship and partnership. Because as we take a look at the near future, the kind of end of August, we have the Forest Lovers, aka the Lovers. This is one of the best cards in the major arcana because it represents magnetism, the ability to pull into your life love, friendship, opportunities, and things of just a very high frequency and magnitude. And it's a commitment. It's something that can last the test of time here. But the self-care, the organization, the balancing of resources, all of that has to happen so this can come through. There is a method to the madness this month. You may meet a really pivotal person in your life that can open doors for you. A relationship could go deeper. A friendship could grow. You could find yourself in a position where people are just more attracted or open to connecting with you. I should say attracted to you. All right, so I really like the energy of August. It starts off on a slightly bumpy note here because there's a lot that has to be decided. It begins here, but you first have to kind of move through all of these other things. So let's take a look. Before we go into Destiny, I want to see what the overarching theme of August is, and then we'll look at the Destiny. So we have Three of Wands, and it's titled Fulfillment, which I love. Three of Wands represents an imminent energy. Sorry, my doorbell actually rang as I picked that up, which is perfectly on brand for the Three of Wands. Whatever it is that you're seeking, you can see, and I mentioned it's imminent, and the doorbell rang. So here's your traditional Three of Wands. What we see with the traditional one is the person's looking kind of passively at all of the ships coming in, but in this particular illustration, they're holding that third wand, and it's basically a bow and arrow. So the communication piece is key. You can speak it into existence. You could ask a question and find out what you seek is right there. You have to just kind of like lift up a rock and you'll find it. So now is the time. It's closer than you think, and you are the missing link. You're the one that can make this happen. You're the third wand, basically. But if there is something you're trying to do, we're looking at now, but the now is existing in August. And I mentioned earlier that I saw that as the launching point. So we have confirmation with that. So finishing up this 2-month spread, let's see where the Destiny is taking us. We have here the Wondering card. What if? What's next? Why not? Interestingly enough, we have mourning on this, M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G. But basically, this is about letting go and releasing things, and there may be something that you're having a hard time releasing. So as we looked at July, it was kicking off with a card of release. This is one of the 4 or so cards connected to death. I would normally put a different card here. I would say like 5 of Cups is more mourning, but there could be something that's coming back front and center and you're wondering, can I let that go? I'd like you to look at the traditional 7 of Cups because I think it tells a better story. And this is what we're heading towards in the Destiny. Possibilities, blue sky, thinking outside of the box and not putting a sort of like any sort of boundary around it until you've allowed an idea to really go the distance. Stay open-minded, stay open-hearted, and you might be surprised what the universe wants to bring forth, okay? So let's dig a little bit deeper. We're going to take a look at health, wealth, and love. We already looked at destiny in this new sort of spread that I'm doing, okay? So I think I'll do, for this one, runes. I've been keeping them thematically the same with each sign that I'm doing. I try to pick 3 cards in the same deck. So let's just get everything organized. And we're going to take a look at some runes for these different facets of your life. So health, wealth, and love. All right. Health, wealth, and love. We have Wunya coming through here for health, which is joy, hope, and rebirth. This is a very good card, particularly the rebirth portion. There is a possibility this month to set something into the right direction, even if you take a misstep, even if there's something where, again, maybe there's burnout or some injury or something that could be associated with the Ten of Swords. With the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Cups, there's a happy outcome. Pay attention to your body, set into motion better habits this month overall, and focus on these first 2 words, joy and hope. Really being mindful of what you're putting your time and energy in, making sure that there is room for love and joy in your life, particularly since, as we look at the energy of August in particular, we have both the 10 of Cups and the Lovers. It definitely looks like the universe is trying to open this up for you if you're ready, if you're willing to receive. All right, let's specifically look at some opportunities and challenges over the course of the next couple months when it comes to your general health and well-being. All right, in July, I think the things that you want to focus on the most, it has to do with emotions and relationships. We'll look at that in a second, but remembering that you can't make everybody happy and that you can't be everywhere at once, because the block was overextension. The karmic energy coming through is sometimes feeling like you're dodging people's comments, and it's like it's a nonstop barrage. You don't have to do that anymore. You can push back. From a health perspective also, it might be time to move on, move up, or move out. The 6 of Swords comes through when the environment no longer serves us. Either you need a break or you need to break away. And depending on your situation, you'll know what's best. Avoid overindulgence. Typically, the 10 of Pentacles, but the King of Pentacles is connected to eating or working too much, pretty much. So sometimes the 2 go hand in hand, because if you're working late, you'll grab something that doesn't make sense. We want to make sure that that's in balance. Speaking of balance, that's the number one thing as we look at July, is just making sure that you're not sacrificing your happiness, your heart, your health, ostensibly, okay? And then looking at August, 10 of Cups is in reverse, can also be too many social engagements or overindulging in drink or caffeine. So we want to be mindful of that. The 10 of Swords in reverse can be chronic pain or fatigue, but it can also be the result of overwork. So you want to be very careful in August. You can get away with a little bit more in July, but in August, that's when the rubber band breaks or when the spring launches. So we want to make sure that you don't cause an unnecessary delay. Focusing, mental acuity, confusion. These both months offer it in different degrees. What I see here for some of you in July is a need for a second opinion, but in August, there could just be so much going on. It feels like a flurry of energy that's when you need to step away. And that's what the Fool can be, is just saying, I need some time to meditate. I need some time to myself. So make sure you're creating some of that in your life. Overall, it's a pretty manageable month, 2-month, I should say, cycle. But the challenge in this 2-month cycle is to avoid the 10 of Swords. So don't add too much responsibility. Don't overwork. Avoid peer pressure, and taking breaks, at least once a month. If you can do something to get away from all of it and reset, I think that'll be really helpful. If anything needs to be healed or reset, the rebirth energy is very good, but it is a wake-up call. This 10 of Swords can be a wake-up call. You don't have to wait until that to sort of heed the warning, but suffice it to say, it does look like things end up in a better place. One last thing with the 7 of Cups. This could just be insomnia. I mentioned earlier all of the thoughts that can go through your head. Some of you may need to do something prior to bed, whether it's exercise, meditation, something to just recalibrate. And you're going to be happy that you did that, because it will help you be able to rest for longer, and also to not kind of like hold tension, maybe with TMJ or other things. So stress relief is definitely needed, and that's part of that whole spring energy that we talked about earlier. Let's move on to wealth. In wealth, we have Isa, which is ice, delay, and suspension. Things could take a little longer than you anticipated. And this would be like the Hanged Man, basically, in regular tarot cards. Or Temperance, which is basically encouraging you to sit still for a second. Typically, when we have one of those slower or cautionary cards, it's to help you see something else. In Temperance, there's a path behind the angel, but it's testing the water, it's testing the ground, it's making sure that everything is the way that it's supposed to be. And in the Hanged Man, it's Odin, basically, hanging upside down so he could learn something. He had to look at a situation from a different point of view. In the story, he's actually learning the secret of the runes. But in day-to-day life, it's about looking at something from a different perspective, using empathy. The ice piece is interesting because you may need to warm up to an idea or to a person or to something new, particularly if we're looking at a job. There are some delays. There may be this feeling of being stuck in limbo. This is where it's really important to communicate. All right, let's break this down a little bit more. We're going to start off with those of you that are currently employed, and we're going to again look at this 2-month period. So if you're currently working, what I see coming through for most of July is a need to get clarity on things. People may be unnecessarily ambiguous. There may not be everything that's spelled out, and you just have to ask questions. Unexpected travel could be coming through. There's either too much or too little on your plate. There's like extremes is what I'm seeing. So you may have to speak up and find balance. You may have to step a little bit more into that leadership role. The good news here is people have a really keen interest in what your insights are. Don't take one piece of criticism too much to heart. I really feel like this is more of a karmic thing, and it's coming through to test your, like, having a thicker skin. As we look further into the future for those that are employed, it's going to land ultimately in a really good place, because the idea can take flight. This is the spring, kind of like releasing. Your ability to connect with others is what's going to make that happen. They don't expect you to be perfect, but you might expect yourself to be perfect. So I think avoiding perfectionist tendencies is really important. Don't take the bait in an argument. 10 of Swords can be an argument in a professional sphere. And lean on the support of others. Together you're stronger. One person might be trying to get the better of you, so don't let them. You're going to end the 2-month period with more questions than you started, but there could also be more ideas. And now you can see what's possible here. Communication is everything, and there may be a chance to level up. You're gonna be clear on if you want to stay or go by the end of this period of time. Entrepreneurs. I really want you to avoid what we see here. And again, it's a maybe 45 to 60 days out, but burnout is real. And for anybody that has their own company, you know that it's hard sometimes because you're doing the work of 3 people. I don't know if it's possible for you to hire, but if it is, do so. When I look at your resources, let's see how possible it is. We have the King of Pentacles in reverse, and typically this is a giving card when I'm looking at it from this perspective. If it was another person, it would be a taking one, but because we're looking at the entrepreneur, it feels like you might be giving too much and not, maybe your prices aren't where they need to be, or maybe you need to pull it back a little bit when it comes to how much you're working. So something has to give. You work less or you charge more. And with products and services, same thing. Something's out of balance. So find the balance, get the balance right, and everything else will fall into place. Taking that out of the equation, let's see what else is coming through. So a complaint, maybe one that could get elevated if not dealt with. So the best thing that you can do with a customer that's pulling out 5 of Swords energy, and it's frustrating to go through, do your best to, what's the word here? To sort of like de-escalate. That's it. don't get in an argument. Sometimes it's better to give a refund. Sometimes it's better to do something to make good on it. Ultimately, that'll help. You'll have a happy customer, possibly a return customer. Maybe someone will share the good news. At the very end of the day, you could take a 10 of Swords moment and make it a 10 of Cups moment. So save yourself the time and effort and just please that one customer, or walk away and don't have the conversation. Walk away from the negativity, because it might come twice. Once in July, once in August. Could be the same person, but it might just be a similar test. So when that comes through, walk the higher ground, be the better person, lead with kindness. Sometimes it's better just to give the refund and save yourself a lot of time and hassle down the road. So that's one thing that I'm picking up on. Taking it away from that, it might be necessary now to either travel to initiate a deal, or you may be looking at sending your products and services to a larger sphere. Again, I'd like to see some more pentacles over here. So I want you to do some planning and projecting and think about what you can do for pricing and making sure that you can afford some of these sort of changes that you want to do, okay? As with this card, it's good to sort of take your time before committing to anything. Do the research, talk to others, talk it out. I think you'll be all right. What I like about the spread is there's one person that's unhappy, but they are way over, what's the best word here? Not over, superseded or outnumbered. That's what I was looking for. They're outnumbered by the 10 of Cups and the 10 of Wands. There's a lot of forward momentum and there's a lot of positivity. Don't let one naysayer get in the way of the progress, okay? Slow and steady wins the race, and that's what Isa is reminding us of, or Isa. Okay, let's move on to those that are seeking jobs. It may be slower than you want. There may be a lot of delays. Let's see if I can get it to focus. We'll bring it to the main camera. So again, ice, delay, and suspension. Don't take it personally, because one thing that we've been talking about is this fear of failure or making a mountain out of a molehill energy that is intrinsic to the 10 of Swords. Here's how you can find things this month. It is who you know, the lovers. A distance component is key, but you have to ask yourself if you're willing to commute or to move. It may be more than you want. Make sure that the money is there if you're going to do that. I see at the midpoint of July an opportunity knocking. The title may be less than you want. You have to weigh the options. This is a month where compromise is going to be key. So you may get the pay but not the title. You may get the title but not the payer. There may be overtime involved. Definitely look at that overtime, because it wears on you over time. Interestingly enough, making it 2 words. Other things here. What I'm seeing in between the 2 months, so let's say like towards the end of July, beginning of August, there could be a freelance opportunity coming through. It's not something that's going to last a long time. It might require some traveling. I'd be mindful of it if you have to drive your own car or take your own equipment, because you may have to repair it. So in this situation, make sure that you're charging enough for that, or better yet, like get a travel stipend or something of that nature, because it may not work to your benefit. Okay, looking way to the distance, towards the 45 to 60 day mark, what I see here is something coming through. Celebration in the 10 of Cups, the lovers shaking on that, signing on the dotted line. Here's the thing. I really want you to ask questions, because there's some stuff that isn't clearly defined and it doesn't look tricky, but I want you to be able to hit the ground running on day one. And that's one thing that is important. Make sure that you're networking. 10 of Cups and the lovers are networking cards. That's how you're going to find people. This could be friends and family, best friends, partners, people that you know. This is something in your circle of friends and family where they know an in. They know how to kind of like help you get to the next level. Otherwise, if there are any sort of conferences or professional events, go to those as well. But at least 3 weeks probably until something is solidified, getting us closer to the 2-month mark. And that's what I saw initially, was taking a couple of months, and it's just slow starting overall. Okay, students. For students, don't add anything more to your plate. In fact, subtract something if possible. For students, I think it's really important to know why you're working so hard on something, like what's the application, because it does feel like there's a little bit of frustration. You may also want to instead of doing the next semester, particularly like if it's a summer semester, maybe take some time or just take a lighter semester. I feel like you don't have to walk away, just lighten the load a little bit. Health is going to be really important, and that's why I'm trying to make sure that you don't burn out. Particularly in August, there's more family obligations. There might be some more things that you have to deliver if you're doing a summer semester. So you're going to have to say no to some things. Choices, that's the key thing, okay? Moving on now to retirees. Travel, more travel. So the largest energy that's coming forth is this desire to explore the world and to explore new things. The Wanderer is doing so without having to commit. So, for instance, don't sign on a timeshare or something like that, but do take a trip. If you're looking to start something new, audit a class, but don't sign up for the entire series. Test it. Put your foot in the water and make sure that it feels right for you. Because I get this energy of I want to do it, but make sure that it's everything that you hoped and not too much. That's the main takeaway there. This is a chance to deepen relationships. So love is coming in. Maybe some of you are retired and looking for love. Some of you are getting to know your partner again. Some of you are making some new friends. The lover's energy is very charismatic. There is a curiosity and a wondering energy that might inform the wanderer. So wondering what's next, how can I do this? Again, taking a class could be really fun right now. And I don't know whether it's like a side project, a home improvement, or maybe some of you might be starting like a small business on the side. But the Three of Wands is showing me that it's fruitful and there's a lot that could come through because of that. Okay? And now that's everything for this category. So we're going to move on to love and relationships. And your runic card for this was Awaz, and it says the yew tree, polarities, and life and death. This is one of the most intense cards that you can get. And particularly, we already saw some of the polarities here this month. The Ten of Swords, the Ten of Wands, the Ten of Cups. This is the second one that came through with like life and death. We have rebirth and health. So significant endings and beginnings in relationships. You're going to either make it or break it. And literally that's what we see with this. This is the make it, this is the break it, this is the choice. And this is making sure that it feels right and that you're not carrying the brunt of the burden, all of the sort of responsibilities. All right, let's go a little bit deeper into three major categories, starting with those already in a relationship. Here's what I'm seeing for you. The key thing, karmically speaking, is really to make sure that you're listening to one another. The Two of Swords in a relationship can be this feeling of not being appreciated. The Five of Swords can be someone that is engaged in an argument but not listening to the partner. So we want to avoid breakdowns in communication, and that's why communication is key. What I think is also important is not to walk away from an important conversation. And if that's not the case for some of you, there could just be heavy burdens with work. And that can sometimes create an environment where the stress breaks you down and kind of breaks down communication as well, and then that becomes an argument. The good news is, as we look towards the end of the 60-day reading, we have the Lovers coming through. So by the time August comes around, it feels like things are in a better situation, in a better category. And when we look at the destiny of this entire reading, it's to understand something and see it from a different perspective. When in doubt, ask questions. Don't go into the trap that often is the Ten of Swords, okay? So I think that will help save a lot of time and energy. I see both months being charged and kind of like affected by travel. July is more affected by monetary concerns, and August, familial sort of gatherings and pressure. And then also for some of you, there's 1, 2, or 3 trips that are going on. There's just a lot of, feels like you're darting around. So making time for each other, I think, is the key thing. Take care of health. One partner may be needing to focus on healing a little bit more than the other. And I think that's just about everything. It's manageable, but you have to elevate the communication. If you need help, ask. Communication was the first card that I pulled with respect to the catalyst, so that's the most important. But like I said, we did get it, and it does feel like you can walk towards each other, meet in the middle. And there is a choice here. Are we walking away or are we walking towards each other? Walk towards each other. That's the big takeaway here. And sorry, I was reading for partners there. All right, let's move on now to single and looking. If you are single and looking, here's the takeaway for that. Can you find someone? Yes. I see more energy coming through, obviously, in August, but there is a partnership opportunity that presents itself in the month ahead. So in July, there could be someone from a different circle, different country, different friend sphere, or maybe someone traveling into your life. If you take a trip, you might meet someone. We have fire energy coming forth. Doesn't look like either of you were looking for this, so this could just be a happy sort of synchronicity. Go with it if you'd like to. It feels good. The thing that I'd like you to focus on, though, is making sure that your work-life balance is where you want it to be. And as I said before, don't force any connections over this 60-day period. Travel is a really great way to meet people. It could be while you're out and about. It doesn't have to be like a business trip, but you could just bump into someone. With the Wanderer kind of at the top of this spread as the connector, I feel like it could just be a happy accident like that. And I believe that that's actually synchronicity. In August, your health is going to be one hurdle at the beginning. You just have to take care of yourself and avoid burnout for sure. And there might be a chance to take this and level it up, or you could meet someone in a family gathering, the 10 of Cups. So let's go back to the traditional illustration. Just hanging out with some other people, you could actually find someone that has a common shared interest. If you decide to go to school or do some training or do something like that, this could be an activity type relationship that then goes a little bit deeper. Friendship, love, camaraderie, and yes, love can all come through on this, like actual passionate love. All right, so you can find it, but I do think that you want to focus on finances and health and allow it to be something that finds you. That's really the message. Let love find you and let yourself focus on just health and well-being this month. I think that's the key takeaway. To that end, if you're single and happy, you're exactly where you should be. You have a chance to make great connections this month. I think that one thing that is coming through for both retirees and people that are single and happy is a chance to travel, explore, and learn more about themselves. I think this is a great time for you also to finish something that you started and do it in such a way that you're really pleased with that. Okay? And that, my friends, is everything for single and happy in relationships. So we already looked at the Destiny card. That means we have a chance to look at one final card. This is anything that you still have a question on. Go ahead and ask it now. And let's see what Spirit has to say. Okay, we got two cards. The first of the two cards was the Sun. And so the initial answer is a yes. It is possible. We have beneath it a Page of Pentacles in reverse, but it may take a little bit more time, energy, or money than you think. So it's a yes, but look at the hidden cost. That's all. Might it be worth it? Yes, but a Page of Pentacles in reverse can also be a reminder to ask about that, or ask for more, or ask for support. And even could just be even a payment plan or something like that. I want you to look at the bottom line, particularly time, energy, and money, and make sure that it makes sense for you. The Sun is also a card for birthing, creation, release. And this is about deciding to invest in yourself or ask for more. Okay? Overall, this is a great spread. And if I look at the two so whats here, I really love that we have a new idea springing forth, no pun intended. And then it comes to fruition as we look at the August portion. So in July, you get the idea. In August, you manifest it. Biggest challenge, again, is self-care and avoiding familial or peer pressure. That, my friends, is everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you're brand new, and leave a comment below letting me know what you enjoyed. I'm trying out some new things with the format, so hopefully you did enjoy that. You can also follow me on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all major platforms. If you'd like to learn more about me, you can go to my website, nicholasashbaugh.com. You can find all the official links for social media, etc. there. And to show a little bit of love and support, you can become a sustaining channel member. You can also leave a little sticker with your comment below if you'd like to as well. And that's all right here on the page. So thank you in advance if you decide to do any of that. And that, my friends, is all for today. Thank you for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. Wishing you a fantastic month ahead. And until I see you again, take care.